The sky above Seoul turned an unnatural shade of metallic gray when the first alien ships pierced Earth's atmosphere. Jay watched from his small apartment window, coffee mug forgotten in his hand. These weren't the sleek, shiny spaceships from movies. They were massive, brutal structures that looked more like floating industrial complexes than anything designed for travel. His phone buzzed. It was his sister, Yuri, who worked at the National Meteorological Center. "Are you seeing this?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. Global communication networks were already lighting up. Military bases worldwide went into high alert. The aliens, a species called the Zorn, weren't subtle about their intentions. Their first transmission was brutally direct. "Surrender your planet. Resistance is mathematically impossible." Most people would have panicked. But humans are weird that way. Instead of fear, a strange collective energy started building. Internet forums, social media, and emergency broadcast channels became battlegrounds of human determination. In military command centers, veteran strategists exchanged knowing looks. These aliens might have advanced technology, but they didn't understand human unpredictability. They hadn't studied our history of turning impossible situations into legendary victories. The Zorn's initial scans showed a divided human population. Multiple languages, conflicting governments, technological disparities. What they didn't realize was that humans unite faster than any species in the galaxy when faced with a common threat. Jay's neighborhood started showing signs of rapid organization. Retired military personnel were already setting up communication networks. Local community leaders were coordinating emergency supplies. University students were analyzing the alien transmission, looking for weaknesses. Within hours, something extraordinary happened. Countries that had been political rivals for decades suddenly started sharing military intelligence. Technology companies began collaborating on defensive strategies. Universities worldwide connected their research networks. The Zorn watched, completely misunderstanding what was happening. They saw coordination as a statistical probability, not realizing they were witnessing something far more profound: human solidarity. Their first mistake was believing humans were just another conquest. Their second mistake would be discovering exactly what happens when you push a species known for turning challenges into opportunities. As the first alien ships began their descent, something was brewing, a response that would become legendary across the galaxy. Humanity wasn't just going to fight. They were going to redefine the meaning of resistance. The ships landed. The invasion began, but nobody, especially not the Zorn, understood what was about to unfold. Nobody except humans. Key narrative techniques used: conversational, natural language, character-focused perspective, building tension through human response, avoiding technical, jargon creating a sense of collective human spirit, introducing conflict with minimal exposition, maintaining an engaging, almost cinematic narrative, flow writing style notes, short, punchy sentences, varied paragraph lengths, emotional but not melodramatic tone, focus on human perspective and reaction, subtle humor and underlying confidence. The narrative deliberately avoids graphic violence, overly technical descriptions, stereotypical, alien invasion tropes, complex scientific explanations. The core message remains: humans are uniquely adaptable, and our greatest strength is our ability to unite and innovate under pressure. The first week of the invasion wasn't what the Zorn expected. They anticipated total submission, but instead found themselves facing a nightmare of human creativity and determination. In a small tech workshop in Busan, Minho and his engineering team were doing something completely unexpected. Instead of hiding, they were dismantling captured alien communication devices, understanding their technology faster than the Zorn could comprehend. What would take their scientists months was being decoded in hours by a group of caffeinated engineers working in shifts. Military strategies emerged from the most unlikely places. Farmers repurposed agricultural equipment into makeshift defense mechanisms. Truckers created mobile communication networks that couldn't be easily tracked. High school students were hacking alien communication frequencies, creating chaos in their communication systems. The global response was nothing short of remarkable. Countries that had been rivals weeks ago now shared real-time intelligence. A retired programmer in Canada would develop a critical communication algorithm that would be immediately implemented by a network security team in Brazil. A mechanical engineer in India would design a protection shield modification that would be rapidly manufactured in factories across Europe. Zorn leadership watched in complete confusion. Their computational models broke down. Humans weren't following any predictable resistance pattern. They were improvising, adapting, transforming every limitation into an opportunity. Military strategists quickly realized the Zorn's primary weakness. They operated on strict mathematical probabilities. Humans, by contrast, were beautifully chaotic. Where an alien would calculate, a human would innovate. Where a Zorn commander would follow protocol, a human would find a completely unexpected solution. Take Yuna, a 28-year-old network engineer. When alien systems tried blocking communication networks, she and her team developed a decentralized communication protocol that essentially made their entire network impossible to shut down. What the Zorn saw as a communication network, humans transformed into a living, breathing intelligence system. Schools became emergency training centers. Universities transformed research labs into weapon development zones. Every citizen became a potential defender. The distinction between military and civilian disappeared. Everyone was now part of Earth's resistance. The Zorn's first major ground invasion happened near Seoul. They expected a straightforward conquest. Instead, they found an entire city that had transformed itself into a massive interconnected defense mechanism. Residential buildings became observation points. Underground parking lots became command centers. Public transportation systems were rapidly converted into emergency mobility networks. What made human resistance truly terrifying was their ability to learn and adapt instantly. Every alien attack revealed a new potential defense strategy. Where the Zorn saw a successful strike, humans saw a blueprint for future protection. Global communication platforms became more than just social networks. They were now real-time strategy centers. A video call between researchers in different continents could result in a breakthrough defense technology within hours. Social media transformed from a communication platform to a global problem-solving network. The psychological warfare was equally fascinating. Humans didn't just resist. They mocked the invasion. Internet memes about alien failures went viral. Humor became a weapon, reducing the psychological impact of the invasion and maintaining collective morale. Industrial production lines were completely reorganized overnight. Car manufacturers started producing military equipment. Electronics. Companies developed communication jamming technologies. Every sector of human society was now part of a massive unified resistance effort. The Zorn had made a critical miscalculation. They saw humans as a single, predictable entity. Instead, they found a species that could transform, adapt, and unite faster than any computational model could predict. This wasn't just a resistance. This was humanity's true nature being revealed. Chaotic, innovative, and absolutely unbreakable. 2 months into the invasion, something extraordinary was happening. The Zorn went from confident conquerors to confused invaders. In a converted research facility outside Seoul, Jin-ho worked frantically. He wasn't a soldier. Just a few months ago, he was a simple electronics engineer who designed smartphone circuits. Now he was developing technologies that would change the entire course of the alien invasion. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. By studying captured alien communication devices, Jin-ho's team discovered something remarkable. The Zorn's advanced technology had a fundamental weakness. Their entire communication network relied on a centralized system that couldn't adapt quickly. Imagine a massive, complicated computer network that worked perfectly under predictable conditions. But humans aren't predictable. They're messy, creative, and absolutely brilliant at finding unexpected solutions. Global research teams started sharing information at an unprecedented speed. A small breakthrough in a Brazilian university would be replicated and enhanced in a Canadian laboratory within hours. What used to take months of international collaboration now happened in minutes. Military strategies evolved rapidly. Traditional warfare concepts disappeared. Instead, humans developed something entirely new, a fluid, adaptive defense mechanism that changed faster than the aliens could analyze. Drone technologies transformed overnight. Where military drones were once controlled from fixed locations, they now became autonomous units that could communicate and adapt independently. Each drone became a small, intelligent unit, capable of making complex decisions in milliseconds. The psychological warfare was equally fascinating. Humans didn't just fight, they outsmarted the Zorn at every turn. Internet communities became global strategy centers. A meme created in one country could become a tactical communication method in another. Una, the network engineer from earlier, developed a communication protocol that essentially turned the entire internet into a massive, decentralized defense network. What the Zorn saw as a communication system, humans transformed into a living, breathing intelligence platform. Manufacturing underwent a complete revolution. Car factories started producing specialized defense equipment. Technology companies developed communication jamming systems. Every industry became part of the global resistance. Satellite networks, once used for communication and entertainment, became critical intelligence-gathering platforms. A teenager in a small town could now provide crucial information that would help military strategists develop new defense mechanisms. The Zorn's computational models began breaking down. Their entire invasion strategy was based on predictability. Humans represented something they couldn't calculate: pure, unpredictable creativity. In space research centers, scientists were developing technologies that would have seemed impossible months earlier. Prototype shields that could deflect alien weapon systems were being tested. Communication encryption methods that made their previous technologies look like children's toys were being developed. What made human resistance truly powerful wasn't just technology. It was their ability to unite, to transform challenges into opportunities. Where the Zorn saw a conquest, humans saw a problem to be solved. Global communication platforms became more than social networks. They transformed into real-time strategy centers. A video call between researchers in different continents could result in a breakthrough defense technology within hours. The invasion had become something entirely different. What started as a potential extinction event was transforming into humanity's finest moment. Every attack by the Zorn revealed more about their weaknesses. Every failed invasion attempt made human defenses stronger. Military veterans, university researchers, high school students, factory workers, everyone was now part of a global defense mechanism. The line between civilian and soldier disappeared. Everyone was a defender of Earth. The Zorn were about to learn a critical lesson. Never underestimate a species that turns its limitations into strengths. The moment of transformation came quietly, almost unexpectedly. Humanity wasn't just defending anymore, they were preparing to strike back. Wung led a specialized team that most people would never hear about. They weren't traditional soldiers. Some were former gamers, others were engineers, a few were mathematicians. Their mission was simple but impossible: infiltrate and neutralize alien command structures. Their first major operation happened near the abandoned shipyards of Busan. What looked like a routine reconnaissance mission quickly became something extraordinary. Using a combination of captured alien technology and human innovation, Wung's team managed to hack into the Zorn's primary communication network. The global response was instantaneous. Research centers that had been working in isolation suddenly connected their findings. A breakthrough in a small laboratory in India would be integrated into a defense strategy in Canada within hours. The entire planet had become one massive interconnected intelligence network. Manufacturing underwent a complete transformation. Factories that once produced consumer electronics now created specialized defense equipment. Car manufacturers developed mobile communication platforms. Technology companies produced advanced jamming systems that could disrupt alien technologies. What made human counteroffensive truly unique was its unpredictability. The Zorn expected traditional military responses. Instead, they encountered a completely fluid, adaptive strategy that changed faster than their computational models could track. Satellite networks became critical intelligence platforms. A teenager in a remote village could now provide crucial information that would help military strategists develop breakthrough defense mechanisms. The distinction between civilian and soldier disappeared completely. Global communication platforms transformed from social networks into real-time strategy centers. A video conference between researchers from different continents could result in a game-changing technology within minutes. The entire planet was now a single unified defense mechanism. Jinho, the electronics engineer from earlier, developed a communication protocol that essentially turned the entire internet into a living, breathing intelligence system. What the Zorn saw as a simple communication network, humans transformed into a dynamic, adaptive defense platform. The psychological warfare was equally impressive. Humans didn't just resist. They started playing with the aliens' perception. Internet memes became sophisticated communication methods. Humor became a weapon that maintained collective morale and confused alien intelligence systems. Military strategies evolved beyond traditional concepts. Drone technologies transformed from controlled units to autonomous intelligence systems. Each drone became a small, adaptable unit, capable of making complex decisions in milliseconds. Space research centers were developing technologies that would have seemed impossible months earlier. Prototype shields could now deflect alien weapon systems. Communication encryption methods made previous technologies look primitive. UNA's network adaptation protocols meant that even if one communication channel was destroyed, multiple backup systems would instantly activate. The Zorn strategy of cutting communication lines became completely ineffective. What truly terrified the alien leadership was humanity's ability to learn and adapt instantly. Every alien attack revealed a new potential defense strategy. Where the Zorn saw a successful strike, humans saw a blueprint for future protection. The counteroffensive wasn't just about fighting back. It was about fundamentally changing the nature of the conflict. Humans were rewriting the rules of engagement, turning the invasion into a complex, dynamic challenge that no computational model could predict. Global collaboration reached unprecedented levels. A breakthrough in a Brazilian university would be replicated and enhanced in a Canadian laboratory within hours. What used to take months of international collaboration now happened in minutes. The Zorn were about to learn a critical lesson. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology. It was the ability to unite, to transform challenges into opportunities, to see potential where others saw only obstacles. The invasion had become something entirely different. What started as a potential extinction event was transforming into humanity's most defining moment. The counteroffensive was complete, and the Zorn had no idea what was coming next. The final confrontation wasn't a massive battle. It was a moment of quiet revelation that would change galactic history forever. In a neutral space station orbiting a distant neutral planet, the remaining Zorn leadership faced humanity's representatives. They weren't military generals or politicians. They were ordinary people who had become extraordinary through collective determination. Jinho sat at the negotiation table, the same engineer who had once worked on smartphone circuits. Next to him, Yuna, the network specialist who had transformed global communication systems. Beside them, Wung, the team leader who had infiltrated alien command structures. They weren't just representatives. They were the living embodiment of human resilience. The Zorn expected surrender negotiations. Instead, they received something completely unexpected. A complete reimagining of interstellar relationships. Humanity's proposal was simple, yet revolutionary. They weren't seeking revenge. They were offering a new model of galactic cooperation that would fundamentally change how species interact. The Zorn had spent millennia conquering. Humans proposed something radical: mutual growth and understanding. What made the moment extraordinary was the complete transformation of power dynamics. The species that was supposed to be conquered had not only survived, but was now dictating terms of future interactions. Global communication networks broadcast the negotiations. Every human watched, understanding that this was more than a diplomatic meeting. This was a defining moment for their entire species. The Zorn's computational models completely broke down. Humans weren't following any predictable diplomatic strategy. They were creating something entirely new, an approach to interstellar relations that defied all previous galactic protocols. Researchers who had spent months studying alien technologies now sat as equals. Engineers who had developed breakthrough defense mechanisms were now discussing technological exchange programs. The line between defender and diplomat had disappeared. What the Zorn failed to understand was humanity's most powerful weapon, the ability to transform challenges into opportunities. Where other species saw conflict, humans saw potential for collaboration. The negotiation wasn't about winning or losing. It was about reimagining what was possible. Humanity demonstrated something revolutionary. Strength isn't about destruction, but about the capacity to understand, adapt, and grow. Global reaction was unified. Social media platforms, once used for entertainment, now became platforms for collective reflection. University research centers analyzed every moment of the negotiation. Military strategists recognized this as a victory beyond traditional concepts of warfare. The Zorn discovered that humans weren't just another species to be conquered. They were a civilization that could turn any situation into an opportunity for growth and understanding. Technological exchanges began immediately. Humanity didn't seek to humiliate the Zorn. Instead, they proposed collaborative research programs that would benefit both species. What started as an invasion was transforming into the most significant interstellar partnership in galactic history. Young students around the world watched the negotiations, understanding they were witnessing a moment that would be studied for generations. This wasn't just a military victory. This was a triumph of human spirit, creativity, and collective intelligence. The legacy wasn't about defeating the Zorn. It was about proving that unity, creativity, and determination could overcome seemingly impossible challenges. As the negotiations concluded, something remarkable happened. The Zorn representatives, who had entered expecting total submission, left with a newfound respect for humanity. They had encountered a species that didn't just survive. They transformed every challenge into an opportunity for growth. Humanity had done more than defend their planet. They had redefined the very concept of interstellar relationships. The invasion was over, but humanity's real journey was just beginning.